too heavy for Henry. Summer was coming to a close on the island of Sodor, but the railway was still just as busy. Passengers and goods needed to be delivered all over the island, and the engines were getting tired. However, Neville had plenty of puff. When he wasn't taking heavy goods trains with Murdoch, he was helping the shunters in the yard. And he even helped bank the engines up Gordon's Hill. All of the engines were very glad for his help. All of them, except Henry.
Who does he think he is? He swanks about as if he can do anything.
What are you on about? Neville's been doing wonders for this railway. Just the other day, he helped me bank the limited. I thought I never helped bear up that hill.
He's taunting us! He's trying to show off how strong he is.
Of course not. You're making it seem like he's going to take our jobs.
Who knows? He could steal your branch line. You're being silly. He's just one goods engine that's stronger than me? I'll have you know.
That's enough. Neville won't take anyone's job. He's just really useful and is a hard worker. There's nothing to worry about.
Now that all is said and done, can we please go to sleep? Keeping an important engine like me up is undignified.
Stronger than me? Pah, in his dreams. I'll show that bread loaf how strong I am.
The next morning, Henry was waiting for Rosie with his coaches. When Neville arrived, he was waiting for a goods train. He smiled kindly at Henry, but Henry returned it with a frown.
Hello, Henry. Nice morning, right?
What are you doing here?
He grumbled, unamused. Neville was about to reply when they heard Rosie's whistle.
About time.
He thought to himself, but his coaches didn't arrive. Instead, he saw Neville leaving with a long goods train headed to Kelstor.
Such a strong engine. You might have some competition, Henry.
Chirped Rosie as she set off to go and fetch Henry's coaches. Henry was fuming. He grumbled until Rosie finally arrived with his coaches, and even then he was still muttering to himself as he finally left with his local.
I'll show that Neville I'm strong too. Stronger than him.
He thought to himself. He thought of ways to prove himself to the others, but he didn't know how. Soon Henry had finished his local. He shunted his coaches back into the yard, after lots of struggling, might I add, when he saw something that caught his eye. It was a long train of scrap and metal that was meant to be going to the ironworks. This gave Henry a very naughty idea.
This will show Neville I'm just as strong as him. I'm such a clever engine.
By the time Albert crawled in with Henry's coal cars, he was already coupled up to the train.
Why do you have...
Change of plans. Neville is needed somewhere else,
he said slyly.
What train's for?
But Albert couldn't get his words out in time. Henry began to pull the long and heavy train out of the yard, leaving him very upset.
Nothing to it. Nothing to it.
He laughed through strained breaths, with the flatbeds creaking and croaking behind him. A little bit later, Murdoch arrived into the yards, looking for his train of steel.
Have you seen my train to the ironworks?
He questioned. Albert could only sigh.
Henry took it.
Murdoch was very confused. Then Neville arrived.
Are my coaches ready?
Yeah, I'll get them for you.
Puffed Albert.
I might as well also get the trains ready.
But he said that to himself.
I'll beat that Neville yet. I'll beat that Neville yet.
said Henry as he dragged the heavy train down the line. It was very hard work, and he had to put in a lot of effort. All of the engines were very surprised as he raced past them with the massive train. As they passed Bear, they saw the hill. Henry's driver began to get worried. If we are doing this, shouldn't we at least wait for Edward?
No, if Neville can climb hills, so can I. I'm big, strong Henry.
And he tugged against the train even harder. Meanwhile, Edward was waiting with a passenger train. Henry blasted his whistle loudly as he barreled right through Wellsworth. Edward was amazed and very worried.
Henry, hold on.
Soon Henry arrived at Gordon's Hill. He climbed the hill as the couplings tightened. He heaved and hauled with all his might until he finally got to the top.
I've done it! I've done it!
Then there was trouble. Henry felt the freight cars bump him. Then,
Oh no! Help! Help! I can't stop!
Henry careened down the hill. He tried to apply his brakes, but they were all but useless. Oliver was leaving with some trucks when he heard Henry's frantic whistles.
Shivering side rods!
He cried as he surged backwards, pushing a very distressed Toad over some points onto another line. The little engines whistled loudly for the signalman to change the points, and he did, just in time. Henry swerved right into the goods shed, and with a shrieking crash, crashed through the shed.
Are you alright, Mr. Henry?
No.
Soon Neville arrived with the breakdown crane, and Sir Topham Hatt. He wasn't happy at all.
Is this your train, Henry?
No, sir.
You're right, it's Murdoch's. I don't know what you were playing at, but you've caused confusion and delay. We'll have to try and do the goods work here without you. I hope this will teach you to keep your vendettas away from your work.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Another engine helped pull Henry out of the goods shed, where Neville was waiting.
I'm sorry, Neville. I shouldn't have been so jealous. We're both strong engines. I should have realized this sooner.
I didn't even realize you were jealous. You were quite silly today, but I accept your apology. Now let's get you to the work shed.
Neville soon pushed Henry into the work shed. Henry hooted happily to his new friend.
Thank you, Neville.
Soon, they began talking like old friends, and even though Neville was a tad stronger than him, Henry now knows he has a good friend in Neville.